Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Fumble Live. I don't know about y'all, but I am so ready for the weekend. We've got a lot to talk about before we get to that, though. You guys see the title. Klay feels some type of way about not being on that list. I don't know if I agree with him, but we're going to get into that. Also, we're going to talk about LeVar Ball being a good father. I want to see your take on that. But before we do all that, make sure you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, hit that notification bell, share it with your friends. And now here's the Fumble Squad on this beautiful Friday. I'm your girl, Jackie Ray. You can follow me on all things social media at JRay the Fanatic.
It's boy Chris. You can find me everywhere at CK2K. And I have some beef with this 75 list as well. But I don't know if Klay Thompson is one of the players, but we'll talk about it.
All right. Well, with that, let's just dive right on into this first need because it's all about that 75. I just like that. It's about the 75.
The 75, so, right.
They put out the full list. The NBA put out the full 75 all-time best list, and they were very, very smart in it, in that they said it is in alphabetical order. They're going to let us argue about the rankings. So, I don't know if we could put that full screen just because I know some of y'all may not be able to see it. But it's 75 people on there. I don't have a ton. There's a few. Here we go. So again, it's in alphabetical order. There's some people on this list that I'm glad. I didn't know if they were going to make the list. There's some people on this list that I probably have to research because I've never heard their names before. But a lot of it makes sense. I didn't know if the mailman was going to be on there, and I'm happy that he is. Of course, Michael Jordan's on there. That's why they had to tell you it was in alphabetical order, because I know some of y'all would have got mad as hell seeing where Michael Jordan is. So a lot of this makes sense to me. Some of it doesn't. First and foremost, Klay Thompson is not on this list. There's a list of people that people say are snubbed, and that is specifically Dikembe Mutombo, Dwight Howard, Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady, and Klay Thompson. Now, I don't necessarily agree with the Klay Thompson snub. Now, let me just let you know, because Dikembe Mutombo, that is a snub to me, because Dikembe Mutombo, he's 20th on the all-time rebound list. He's second in my favorite stats, and that's blocks. Only Hakeem Olajuwon has more. Dwight Howard is 13 on the all-time list of, is it blocks? Yes, of blocks, I think. And then he's 11th on the rebound list. Vince Carter is 19th on the all-time scoring list. Klay is not on an all-time list. So I just don't believe that he was snubbed. He disagrees, though. And he posted this to his Instagram. So let you take a look at this. I think I put it in there. It is. So it says, maybe I'm just naive in my ability to play basketball, but in my head, I'm top 75 all time. And then, of course, you had the people who I believe only have watched basketball in their lifetime. He says Klay easily over Dame Dollar and Carmelo Anthony. Many others that's just off. Who else scored 31 and a quarter? We don't have all-time. Anywho,
who's born in 2013?
Right. The person on the bottom was exactly what I thought. He's like, Klay over Carmelo. Were you born in 2013? Otherwise, but a lot of people had that same narrative, and I was surprised at how many people wanted Klay in over Carmelo Anthony. And again, I feel like you just don't know basketball. You was just brand new. I love this one because he says, I have one rule on the who's left out question. If you think someone deserves to be on this list, then you have to take be removed. I agree with that. So a lot of people had a lot of things to say. There was only one that I thought made a little bit of sense. And so I'm going to show you this one. He said, you have to take off Pete Maranovich, Dominic Wilkins, I would leave on. Dave Bashir, I know I messed his name up. Earl Monroe and Dave Cowens. I agree with Earl Monroe and Dave Cowens. You got to put Tony Parker on. Yes. You got to put Pau Gasol on. Yes. Nobody got to be on there. Draymond Green got to be on there. Dwight Howard got to be on there. This one makes sense to me. You don't think Dwight Howard?
I don't like the Draymond. No. Dwight is on my list. I got a list here. This is Draymond one I'm not crazy about. Right, if Klay ain't on it, then the hell that Draymond got to be on there. Come on.
Klay's not any on. He does not have one all-time as far as like the assists, the points, the
Yeah,
rebounds.
but Klay Thompson is going to go down as one of the top best shooters in the history of the sport. With Draymond Green going, I mean, he was a great captain, but I'm just saying, I agree. I don't think Klay Thompson was snubbed. If anything, Klay Thompson is 76 or 77. So I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just disagreeing with the fact that Draymond would go on there before Klay Thompson. That's completely that's irresponsible, if you ask me. Yeah, well, I'm glad we're talking about. Yeah, I got problems. Dwight Howard is definitely number one on my list. Bernard King is at the top of my list as well. And y'all know who my favorite basketball player of all time is. One of the greatest scorers in the history of the game, Hall of Famer Tracy McGrady and cousin Vince Carter. I don't understand how these guys do not make this list. And I'm looking at the likes of David Cowens. Okay, and all due respect to Pete Maravich, but Pete Maravich should not be on that list as well. The list that he put of people that should have been taken off, I mean, Dominique Wilkins, I could give, he could probably be 75 on the list, but I'd be fine taking him off as well. But there's a lot of those guys, and I know what the reasoning is with the NBA. They want to preserve the history of basketball in the NBA. So they're keeping some of these old heads on there just for the name. Now, obviously, some of them should be on there, like Kuzi and some of those old school, but some of them were on there just because they were good in their era. But if they didn't have championships, I don't see why they should be on this list, because of the game just improved as the years went on. So some of these guys, like said T-Max, Dwight Howard, we're not even mentioning Chris Bosh. Like, there's so many names that should have been on this on their head. Paul Gasol, I'm so glad that he's gaining respect, because I feel like he's just an afterthought, and he should definitely be on there because he had a great career before he won championships with the Los Angeles Lakers. He was one of the best bigs, foreign bigs at that to play the game. So I don't know. I have beef with some of these old names, and I get why they're doing it, because they don't want to delete the history of some of these guys that started the entire history of the 75th anniversary of the NBA. But look, man, if they did not get championships, and I'm saying it multiple because we know their stat lines aren't going to speak for themselves. I'm sorry. I'm just being real here. If they didn't win championships, or they weren't a part of history, or they're not the logo, then I think some of those old heads had to come off, and to get guys like you mentioned, like Dwight Howard, it's preposterous for not to be on this list. Tim Duncan, like, it's just a lot of that. I can understand it. I mean, Tim Duncan's on this, excuse me, but like Ginobili, Gasol, T-Mac, Dwight Howard, Chris Bosh, and I'll argue Kyrie Irving. That's a disrespect. Like, I understand.
I said that too.
Yeah, I get it. Like, we in the now right now, so people are like, oh yeah, Kyrie Irving ain't that good. How much he actually played? Nah, look, man. I'm telling you right now, Steph Curry is Steph Curry, but after that, or even before that, we ain't never had a talented point guard like Kyrie Irving ever in the history of this game. I love Magic Johnson. That definitely, he is the pinnacle, and he is the benchmark. I get that, but I'm talking about as far as skill set, Kyrie Irving's at the top of that list. So for him to be disrespected on the 75th, I think that's pretty crazy. But I mean, like you said, you got to take one to put one on. And if you're asking me, I'm going to take off a lot of those old heads that don't have championships. And I'll stand to that. I'll die on that hill. I don't care.
Yeah, and I think it was Weekend. Somebody said that Penny Hardaway, that was the first one I was looking for, and that's why I was glad that it was in alphabetical order.
He always gets disrespected.
Yeah, Penny should have been on there for sure. And it was just, it is one of those things that some of these names, and that's when I realized it was what you said. Some of these names, I was like, who the hell is that? And then you look it up, and it's, it's still when the game was damn near in black and white, and it's like, okay, they, like you said, they were good for their era and whatnot. Klay, in my opinion, is just not, and I get it. Klay probably feels very disrespected because it was just season before last that he didn't even make an all-star, an all-team. So I get it, but he's just, in my opinion, he hasn't. And everybody in the chat who's saying Klay should be on it is talking about what he did when Curry was out, or what he's doing right now. But as far as that legacy, like, I mean, I get it. He is part of the Splash Brothers. Him and Steph are one of the reasons the games has changed. But I'm just not trying to put him on the list yet. I'm trying to see who else in the chat. Who?
Yeah, some people saying that Chris Bosh shouldn't be on it, and that's what I've seen. All I need to see from the chat. I'm done looking at the chat. They're like Chris Bosh, like. Yeah, there's some people saying that. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. No, we catering to some kids. My Glock is on with us right now. He's agreeing with a lot of things we're saying. Bernard King, Kevin, number one. If you can see my list, number one on my damn list is Bernard King. I don't understand it, but I don't know. Like I said, I guarantee the league is just trying to preserve history and keeping some of those names. And what was isn't there do with like Cotton in his name or something like that? I don't know. He had a Cushy name or something like that. I've never heard of him. And maybe I need to do my research, fine. But like I said, I guarantee you that we can put them bar for bar for any of these guys that we've talked about in this show alone, that they should be on that list ahead of them. But that's just my opinion on that. I'm with you on that.
And some of these names, I do believe, outside of the old school names, it was exactly what you said, Chris. They were just trying to respect that era. But some of the names that in the last 20 years, I think it was their star power more than maybe what they contributed to the game, because,
like
Tony Parker.
Wilkins.
Yeah, Dominique, Tony Parker. Those are one of those two guys very specifically that are just kind of like, they're just that name, So it's an interesting list. Go and check it. Some of you guys really need to go and revisit, especially if you don't think Chris Bosh should be on there. You need to revisit some things.
Crazy, yeah, that's crazy.
But it is what it is. I one thing on this show that we are very consistent on, we can take or leave these damn lists because they're never 100% right to us, and they're never going to be 100% right to anybody. So it's fine. So that's all we got for what we're not going to do. We ain't even got to what we're not going to do. Can you tell I'm ready?
We get there yet. We ain't get there yet. Hold on.
Chris, can you take us into the post?
Yeah, we got. I'm so irritated about this list. But it's post up on this fine Friday here. I'm trying not to let this deter our beautiful Friday going into this weekend. Well, not so beautiful. It's kind of cloudy out there, but you know what I mean. It's Friday. We have the weekend. But yeah, that list, irritation. But whatever. Nonetheless, we had great basketball continuing. This whole week of basketball has been a lot of fun, except if you are a Milwaukee Bucks fan, because it's been a roller coaster. Had a great opening game and then get smacked up by the Heat last night, but that's neither here nor there. We're talking about the Clippers and Warriors game that went on last night. It was fun. I really enjoyed it. Clippers made a great comeback, but nonetheless, the Warriors are fighting. They're two games in a row. They're fighting, especially against two powerful teams in LA with the Lakers and the Clippers. But one of my favorite moments, and I'm so glad they caught this on mic. It was just beautiful. This moment between Paul George and Steph Curry. I'm gonna leave it at that. Watch the video.
Make it interesting. We did one. I give you one, you give me one. I'm from the logo with it.
A few moments later.
Green is in a torture chamber, and outside it goes Curry.
You asked for it.
And the thing is, shout out to Steph, man. Steph talking that junk. I'm telling y'all, man. I know the persona is like Steph Curry's a nice guy. I'm telling you, man. Steph Curry, if we had a microphone on him enough during games, I think he the way he be celebrating those threes, he's that guy like to people's face. That's what he said to Paul George. If you can hear him, he's like, I ain't missed one yet. Like, come on, man, give me a better challenge than that. And then it took him to the fourth quarter, Steph. I gotta give you that. But, like, he did it. And Paul George was and I love Paul George, but you ain't do it, bro. Like, what you trying to do? I get he's trying to get him out of his game. But, yeah, I thought that was hilarious. The fact that it happened same game, it's mic'd up. That was a perfect moment. Perfect moment. So far, so good, the NBA season.
Yeah, it's good. That game was one of those close games. And, okay, so I know you know whatever about Paul. But I felt like the Clippers look actually really good. I felt, I think everyone's still in their warm-up phase, but I thought the Clippers looked pretty good. I'm going to give the credit to Paul George for that. I know you're not really.
I agree with you.
Okay.
I just don't think they're going to be. I just told you I don't think they're going to be a high seed, but yeah, I think they're going to be fine with Paul George without Kawhi Leonard. I remember I said I don't really like the fit between Paul and Kawhi. I agree with you on that. I just don't think they're going to get a high seed. I think they're going to be like 6 or 7. I just think that's as far as Paul George is going to be able to carry this team with them, and that's not slight. I just think that there's a lot of good teams in the West. That's it. But yeah, no, I like it. I thought they were good too. Shout to Terrence Mann too, man. That dude out there, I'm so happy for his growth. He's killing it.
Me too. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's really good to see. Good, yeah. I'm cool with the Clippers. I got my man Mook over there. It's all good. But now we got to talk about Ben Simmons because the saga over there is continuing as you'd expect, and it's going in a direction that I don't know I'm a fan of, but I mean we'll see what comes next. And I'm glad we got oh my goodness, what's his name? Jason KELCE that we're going to talk about later on in the show because he says a lot of things that I've been saying. But speaking about the Sixers right now, starting with Daryl Morey, he came out with this quote saying that this Ben trade could take. I don't know what he's trying to get at, but here's the quote. He said, "You're going to think I'm kidding. I'm not. this could take 4 years. We're in the prime of Joel's career. This is not a day-to-day issue. Every day we are going to expect Ben Simmons to be back here, or we trade him for a difference maker. So I took this as a lot of different things. Like initially I thought he was saying that it was going to take them 4 years to trade away Ben Simmons, but then I'm like, maybe he means it's going to take 4 years before they win a championship. I don't know what the hell Daryl Morey is trying to say. I don't think Daryl Morey knows what the hell he's trying to say, but whatever he put out there, it scared Ben Simmons, because it now looks like that Ben Simmons and the Sixers are trying to make things work. Now, according to Shams, literally about 30 minutes before the show started, Shams put out this saying, sources, Ben Simmons spoke to Doc Rivers, Joel Embiid, and the entire 76ers team today and accepted everyone needs to take responsibility, including himself. But Simmons informed them that he's not mentally ready to play yet and he needs time. Noda. Like, I don't think anybody. Ben Simmons is about to prepare himself for 81 games of away games. Like he gonna be like, he don't even got Kendall with him no more. No one's going to be on your side unless you're able to fly all of Australia out here to shut everyone else up. You are going to be on. Even then, I think you lost a lot of Australian fans. So yes, there's a lot that he has to mentally prepare himself for. So I get that. But the fact that if this is true, that he initiated and he apologized to him, I like that for Ben. I'm still shaking my head at the 76ers because Daryl Morey says what he says, and now anyways, but it continued after that, saying that Simmons reported to shoot around today ahead of the Nets game and was seen engaged around the team, sources said. The three-time All-Star has expressed he wants to play but isn't prepared mentally. And I know people are going to joke and meme about that, but I get it. Like I said, it's going to take a lot more than just being basketball ready for this season if your name is Ben Simmons. Mind you, you put yourself in this situation, but at the same time, the Sixers also boosted up this situation by not trading you when they should have got rid of you, and now you're in a predicament. So I understand if he's not mentally ready, especially since this is their home opening game. That's the part that I feel like people are missing. This is the Sixers' first home game against the Brooklyn Nets, so it's already enough pressure to be playing against the Nets. Now on top of that, you know you're going to be booed. So before we get to the next post, I want to hear your thoughts on Daryl Morey's crazy comments and Ben Simmons trying to apologize or trying to make things cordial between himself and the Sixers. What are your thoughts about all of that?
I think that even though it was convoluted and twisted and you had to really kind of decipher it with some sort of decoder ring, I think Daryl Morey meant exactly what he said. I think in his mind, he's saying, I am not relenting. I want the whole farm for this kid. And if it takes his entire contract for me to get that, then it's going to take the entire contract for me to get that. I do not care. Everybody's saying that I need to lower the stock. No, I'm not doing that. And if it takes how many years? I thought it was only 2 years left on his contract. Am I tripping, or is it 4?
Nah, I think it's 3. Well, I mean, maybe it's 4 because he brought up 4. He specifically said 4, but so maybe it is 4. I'll look it up.
Yeah, so if it's 4 years on his contract, then like I said, you probably had to decipher it, but Daryl Morey meant what Daryl Morey said. Is it 4 years?
Mm-hmm. Nah, you're right. He has 2 more left on it.
More, that's what I thought.
He signed the extension in 20. Oh no, he has 3 years left. So yeah, but still, it's not 4 years. Regardless, I don't understand the 4 years because it's 3 years. It's not 4 years, anyways. But you're right. I think you're right.
Daryl forgot. You know what I mean? Because sometimes he just don't remember what's going on. He talk out the side of his neck sometimes.
Daryl Morey different,
he thought it was 4, but nonetheless, he meant we're gonna ride for the rest of his damn contract, and then until y'all give me the farm for this kid. And Ben, and then I'm telling you what was happening. Ben was sitting right next to Rich Paul, and Rich Paul was like, "Man, I told you." And then Ben was like, "Oh, let me call
boys up, right?" Joel,
what you doing? Hey. I just called to say, hey, see how you doing? Like,
hey, he probably like sweeten the deal, like, Joel, hey man, what you doing? Oh, me? No, I'm just getting shots up in the gym, shooting threes. You like to, you want to come see? Yeah, I just gotta talk to you real quick.
Yep.
Oh man, this thing is just a mess. And Daryl Morey, just hearing that, like, I'm firing him that night. I ain't gonna lie to you. If I saw this tweet and I'm the owner and I saw this report coming out, I'd be like, Daryl Morey said what now? So Elton Brand, how do you feel about a full-time GM position? Because we gotta let that man go. This man said 4th year. What?
Even though as crazy as it sounded, it made Ben Simmons pick up the phone. So in your head, you're probably
It's
thinking,
still going to be a mess.
just saying the end result, though.
I mean, you're right. I mean, that's one plus, but there's a lot of negatives behind it. But I stand my ground, and this goes into the next post up. I stand my ground on this with Philadelphia. If Ben Simmons, and he said he needs some time to get mentally ready, but if Ben Simmons goes out there amidst the boos and the egg throwing and the comments and the memes or whatever, and he goes out there and balls out, shoots jump shots, and does all those kind of things, I guarantee you Philadelphia going to be like, but all right, Ben, yeah, and especially if the Philadelphia 76ers end up being one of the top teams in the Eastern Conference, I guarantee you they will flip the script. And I've been saying that. I don't think it's going to happen because I don't know about Ben's mental. And I appreciate Ben being honest, saying that he's not mentally there instead of coming out with the I appreciate that. I know people won't and are going to meme and joke about that. I appreciate him being honest with that part because I feel like that's the first time he's going to be honest with anything that he's done with the Philadelphia 76ers because it's a lot to deal with. So I appreciate him being honest about that. But I still believe if he goes out there and he plays well and the Sixers win, Philly fans going to forget everything because all they're going to think is, damn, we have a chance. Hold on, Ben shot a three. We got a chance. We going to win. Ben wanted to trade. I don't care about that. We second in the East right now. We just beat the Nets. Like, I guarantee you they going to flip the script. That being said, Jason KELCE said, I thought he put it perfectly. I think, he's played in Philly long enough to understand the noise, understand what it takes to be a part of, that kind of crazy fan base. And he said it perfectly, echoing my sentiment. Take it away, Jason KELCE.
So, I think that's how you control everything. You really think about it like, if I just do this better, if I go out there and ball, if I go out there and play really good, nobody's going to have any choice but to love me or appreciate me as a player. So that's what I tell guys. You write your own narrative. What's going on. I don't want to crush any other player. What's going on with the 76ers, Ben Simmons, stuff like that. All that is because of a lack of accountability, a lack of owning up to mistakes, and a lack of correcting things. If all that got corrected, if you're fixing free throws, if you're getting better as a player, none of this is happening. So everybody can bitch and complain about, how tough this city is to play in.
He is chewing that gum.
Play better, man.
Golly.
The city will love you.
Now, here's the thing, though. He's right, but the one big factor thing we're forgetting about is not everybody has that Jason KELCE mindset because that dude got that lumberjack. I can care less what you guys have to say about me kind of mindset. If I mess up today, cool. I got another week next week. Y'all can say what you want to say in the media because the minute I have a good game next week, I ain't going to hear nothing about it. The problem is Ben Simmons doesn't have that part. But for the main part, for what he's saying, I do agree with. But my question is always going to be, does Ben Simmons have that in him? I don't know. We'll have to see, especially since now he's here kumbaya with the Philadelphia 76ers. Allegedly, he's probably going to play here very soon. Probably not tonight, but he's trying to play with the team again. I don't know. But, Jackie, do you agree with that sentiment that you think that if Ben Simmons balls out, that Philadelphia fans they'll flip the script and be like, all right, Ben, we're cool? Or you think they're going to boom till he can average 30, 12, and 10, and they still going to boom through the roof?
I think a couple things. Number one, fans always have short-term memory. As long as there's a chance, they'll circle back and they'll say something to themselves like, this is what we had to go through. Two, if Ben Simmons doesn't have the mentality to go out there and be like that, then I'm going to circle back to what I said before and say that he is not the guy you build a team around. Because if you don't have short-term memory to say, let me shake this off and let me get better, let me constantly. I mean, we talked about it, was it last week or maybe earlier this week? I can't remember how Aaron Rodgers went out there and bitched and complained for one game and then was like, okay, let me go ball out. And now you almost forget that he still wants out of Green Bay because that's that championship mindset. You only build teams around guys who have championship mindsets. Ben Simmons does not have that. So that's what I'm saying. I 100% agree with Jason because at this point, if he'd have gone out there and done what he was supposed to do, then it would have happened the way that he wanted. His stock level would have gone up, and then now a trade would have been easier. He's made it difficult for the 76ers to get him off their books, especially when he's expensive, So it's like you've got to show that you are who you are. So Jason's 100% right. It was hard for me to concentrate because he's chewing that gum like Bugs Bunny.
Boy, he was chewing that gum. My goodness, yeah, man. Lord have mercy.
But he's 100% right.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see what happens next. I don't think he plays tonight, but the possibility is still in the air. He says he doesn't think he's mentally there, but that doesn't mean it's not going to happen. So we'll see what happens. I think it would make for great television if he ended up playing tonight at the last second, but we'll see what happens. All right. Well, from that crazy organization to the Clippers and Kawhi Leonard, we talked about Kawhi producing an album that was coming out sometime soon, but it's today. The album is coming out today. According to Twitter, if we can get the tweet up and I can tell you. Kawhi Leonard is dropping his new album, Culture Jam, on Friday, today. It has features from Lil Uzi, Rod Wave, Youngboy, Gunna, Polo G, Annalie Choppa, A Boogie, Wale. Wale gonna be on that thing? Hold on, Wale, cool. Young Blue, Ty Dolla $ign, and more, which is pretty cool. And I don't know how much of it we can listen to, but it sounds good so far, but I didn't even care about the music. I was just loving Kawhi Leonard. I'm telling you, man, I'm just learning a lot about Kawhi Leonard. I think it's going to be a very interesting season of Kawhi Leonard rehabbing because we're going to be seeing a lot more of personable Kawhi. But here's a little snippet of the album coming out today. Everything you trying to show me, I already done. With diamonds on my pinky and my index and my toe. Look at Kawhi, man. He got the braids dripping on the side, too. I'm just like, who is this guy, man?
Last night. That's fire.
That's actually good. That's what I was gonna say. They actually put something together here, but I'm just looking at Kawhi just enjoying himself, and it's blowing my mind. It's blowing my mind, and I'm loving it. I ain't got no hate. It's just weird. It's just weird. Like imagine you go outside, right, and you see. No, let me stop. That was so stupid. Anyways, but just the fact that did it come out already? I know today is Friday. Maybe it came out at midnight, or is it coming out later today? Someone in the chat, please help me out with that.
At midnight, it usually comes out at midnight. It's probably out. I only know like Lil Uzi, Wale, and Ty Dolla $ign. Everybody else on there, I don't know nothing about. So I'm gonna check out those tracks. But. Yeah, that sounded like fire. And if he's producing that, that's dope. I mean, he's probably executive producing it, which means he's just a money man and he gets the final say on what tracks make the album. Mm-hmm. But that was fire. Those braids did look good in that video, but that's because he had a hat on. I don't know if y'all saw his braids.
Yeah.
Struggle game.
Kawhi. The problem with Kawhi, and I'm learning it because I have braids this almost a month now, but I've gotten them redone 2 times. The thing I'm learning is after that second week, if you don't get them redone, you're gonna be looking crazy. I think Kawhi Leonard, he's had braids way longer than me, and he's not understanding that part because he just let it go too far. So, I saw it last night too, and I'm just like, bro, put the hat on, bro. Put the hat back on. It was bro.
Like, no. I was like,
bro. Nah, Kawhi, man, you too rich to be looking like that, son. Come on, man. But anyways, album sounds dope. And for this next one, I thought it was pretty funny. Now, you guys know about Draymond Green and his kid. If y'all remember back in 2017 when he first brought him out for the post-game interview, my man looked like he could care less about this damn post-game interview. He's like, go home and give me my damn nap. And, well, it has been almost 5 years later, and my man's still looking the same way. So I'll tell you one thing. Draymond Green is a good father because he is teaching them his mantra of keep that same energy, and Lil Man is definitely keeping the same energy from when he was a wee little baby to right now. He's looking at him like, man, Dad, I don't know why you bring me up here. You think I ain't Riley? Like, I'm not Riley. Like, you better take me back to my playpen so I can put in my toys. Like, look, I love it. I think that's so funny. But he did not want to be there. Lil Man did not want to be there. And then last but not least, this might spark a conversation. I don't know. I saw it. I was like, cool. I am pulling for the kid, Scotty Pippen Jr. We know that he played for Sierra Canyon, and he was okay. He was their starting point guard at the time, but he was solid. You didn't know if he was going to be that next level player or if he was just going to be a guy that drift around but have the name. But in his first season with Vanderbilt, he actually surprised a lot of people. And then now coming into this new season that's about to start, he's already turning a lot of heads. But remember, when he first came out of Sierra Canyon, he was not that highly ranked. As you can see right now, he was only a 3-star recruit. Did not get many offers, and he ended up taking the Vanderbilt one because it was the bigger one. But then now, today, he got SEC Preseason Player of the Year, preseason first team, all SEC. He's averaging about 20 points. 5 assists per game, and he's on the watches for the Bob Cousy Award. So a lot of things. He's glowing up for sure. The main message was never believed in rankings, just work just hard work. But he still proceeded to put the rankings next to his bad rankings, but that's neither here nor there. But I'm pushing for him. If he could have gone into this last draft, he would have been a second round talent. Decided to pull his name out of the hat and go for another year. I know Jackie's probably a fan of that. She loves when players know their worth and know when it's time to keep working, and he did that. So he's out there still working with Vanderbilt. And Vanderbilt's a very good school for point guards. We've seen a couple guys come out of there that are playing really well, and Darius Garland. No, he went to Iowa State. I was going to say Tyrese Halliburton, but he went to Iowa State. Either way, Scotty Pippen Jr., you think he brings up a good point that, it's about the work, Ben Simmons, and it's not really about the rankings, or what's your thoughts?
That's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, man, here's this kid showing bits. We got all these examples that Ben Simmons needs to follow because literally he could have got in his head and he could have said, I'm Scottie Pippen's son, how dare they or whatever. But like you said, he was okay. He wasn't there yet, but he went out and he put in the work. And that's what you have to do. You have to, I think Ben Simmons' problem is he believes his own hype. And, Scottie Pippen Jr. could have believed the hype of his name and his name alone, but he didn't. And he went out there and did the work. So Ben Simmons, the universe is putting all these examples out in the world just for you.
Just follow him, bro. Just follow him, bro. Anyways, well, I'm ready for this one. We're not going to do because I think you already know where I'm going to put my allegiance in this next one. But I'm glad we're going to talk about it, and I can't wait to hear from it. But Jackie Ray, on this fine Friday, bars. Can you tell us what we're not going to do?
Yes, let's get into what we're not going to do. I'm excited about this one as well because I think the problem in this situation is we as human beings forget that two things can exist on the same plane. There can be a person that you don't like personally, but they can be good in other areas. LeVar Ball, to me, is definitely one of those guys. I have said, check the tapes, you guys. I have said that he is an innovator. He thinks outside of the box. His approach is what I have a problem with, right? Let's just be clear about it. I know people don't want to give credit where credit's due, but the reason why the NBA is now doing this whole thing where you don't have to go to college and you can come into the G League is because LeVar Ball tried to change the game. He tried to create a league where he can have kids go and they can start earning money and they weren't having to basically give money to a college that they never got to see. LeVar Ball was out here trying to change the game. NBA was like, oh, damn, this might actually work because if it had been executed just a wee bit better, it would have. So now all of a sudden the NBA is trying to change the game. LeVar Ball, as far as creating a brand specifically for his kids so they don't have to go out here and seek these shoe deals that they really have no ownership in. They're just designing a shoe, and then you end up like Kyrie and having to go on Instagram and say, I'm sorry, the shoe is ugly as hell. I didn't get a say in it. Now you have a brand that's family owned that you're directly involved in and you have more control over. The product is trash. The concept is genius. Every idea LeVar Ball has is centered around his family. It's centered around giving his kids options that a lot of players just don't have. He is a very family-focused guy. He's just not likable. He's not a likable guy. But those two things can exist on the same plane. So I 100% agree with LaMelo on this one. So let me post this up, what he said on his Instagram, it was on his Facebook, I think. Some kids don't even have fathers, and y'all hating on my father because he believes his kids can do anything. He absolutely does. He believed that there's no limit, not the sky, not this universe, nothing. He believes there's no limit to what his kids can do, and he's going to go out of his way to give them a launching pad to do it. That is what good fathers are. And I hate when you talk about black fathers get too much flack. LeVar Ball is a good father. I don't like some of his fatherly tactics. I know some of his things that he does make people think that he is a bad father. But at the end of the day, he shows up 100% for his kids. He believes 100% in his kids. He's trying to create platforms for his kids, not just his kids, but for his kids' kids. Like he's trying to create generational wealth, which is so important. This man is a good father. LaMelo is 100% right in his assessment of the situation. You cannot like him, but you can't hate on his love for his kids and his family, in my personal opinion. Chris, what do you think? I know this is your roommate, so I know you're gonna love it.
I've been saying this, man. I've been saying this. People they dwell too much on the name. Like I always go back to like the Michael Jordan thing where he said that he could take out my da 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 da. People dwell too much on the what they're hearing rather than the message that he's portraying. The point of everything he's always saying when he says that his kids could be the best in the league, the next Steph Curry, da 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 da. The point is that he is saying that he believes in his kids, that they can be the best, that whatever they put their mind to do in the NBA or whatever they're doing or whatever they're pursuing in life. And I've always loved that. I've always stood by that. And I understand because he's saying names like Steph Curry, people are like, Lonzo, like Steph Curry, that is blasphemous. Well, Lonzo, they heard that part, but they didn't hear the message. And I love LaMelo, and I love all three of them for always standing by him and never being like, oh, there go dad again. Oh, dear God. Nah, every time there was a commercial, an interview, or whatever the case may be, LeVar sitting there saying all the recklessness. And if you look at Lonzo and LaMelo, they straight face like, there go dad again. All right, cool. I have no problem with it. And that's what I'm talking about. That's love and that's respect. So, I stand by this. Shout out to LaMelo. LaMelo, man, I'm really loving his young career so far. I know that when you look at him outside looking in, he's wearing out these highlighter suits, got the highlighter Lambo and all that nonsense. You think one thing, but when you see when you get to see who the kid actually is, when he's giving back to other communities, trying to make other pathways for other people to, come up in, whether it's in music or whether it's in basketball, stuff like that, it's really, really dope. So and for him to still be so close and care so much about the values that his parents, not even just his dad, but his mom, he's always talking about his mom. I love that. You know what I mean? So this whole family is a huge W, and I'm glad that they don't care about none of the outside noise because they believe in each other and they love each other, and that's what it's about. That's all it's about, especially as a black family. I love that. So I love it.
I remember one time LeVar got a whole lot of flack because you remember his mom had the stroke or whatever, and she's still back to her normal self.
Covering up.
And I believe it was Ball in the Family, or I don't know. It was something that his mom was trying to do something, or I can't remember exactly what it was. But LaMelo, I believe, came around and tried to help her. And LeVar was like, no, let her do it on her own. Let her do it on her own. And he got so much flack for that. But me in that moment, because my dad had a stroke. And so I was very much that, like, mom would come over and be like trying to do something for him. I'd be like, no. And he would do it. But you do get so used to people doing stuff for you. So you kind of stop trying a little bit. And when you're in that time of recovery, that's not what you need. And he got so much flack for that. I'm like, that is a man who loves his woman and is going to push her as hard as he can for her. He loves differently than a lot of us. He's got a lot of tough love in him. And he does say some reckless stuff. But he's still a good, but he's still a good, loving man and a loving dad. And I know that I'm LiAngelo, for whatever reason, is my favorite. I think it's probably because he's the better looking of the three. But but LaMelo, LaMelo's definitely growing on me as well because he takes ownership of stuff and he's not afraid to say what he feels. So love it. I'm co-signing on your Ball family.
There it is. Yes. Welcome finally. And to the Lonzo Ball comment, that's just because y'all living in 2019, 2018. Yes, that whole debacle that happened with Triple B's. Yes, Lonzo was not happy about it. But if you actually followed him, or hell, I was at Summer League and I watched the Charlotte Hornets play. Lonzo was wearing Triple B slides. He was wearing a Triple B shirt out the sidelines watching his brother's team play. So he still supports the family. He just doesn't have a shoe with Triple B. LaMelo is the same thing. It's just LaMelo now is more of the superstar than Lonzo is. Lonzo is still about his family the same way. They're all the same. I don't try and pit them against each other. Don't do that. Don't try and do that. It was the man. They were more upset with. I don't even remember dude's name with the haircut and had the YouTube channel. I don't even remember. With that guy. They're more mad about him than the family. They didn't break up the family. Don't do that, y'all. Don't try that.
It's all love. It's a great way to start the weekend on this gloomy. My windows are here. Yeah, it's still gloomy outside, but
it's still gloomy. Yeah.
All right, you guys. You have a wonderful weekend. Be safe. Love each other, and celebrate life. We'll see you on Monday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Don't forget, we do have content coming out the rest of this. I know why that laugh was. That's funny. We have content coming out the rest of this weekend. Follow me at All Things J Ray the Fanatic. Follow Chris at CK2K. Be safe. We'll see you Monday. Peace out.
Let's go next, baby.